Hi, welcome back. I'm Daniel Hylton. Let's do another autumn scene today, only let's set it up in the mountains, maybe the Rockies or the Bitterroots, so we can have some of those really nicely colored aspen trees, okay? So, let me get my glasses. Let's start the timer. Let's paint. Now today, I don't care too much about the sky. I want it to be mostly blue. I mean, I don't care if it looks like there's a few high, thin clouds, but I mostly want a sunny day today. So it looks like it's a really nice day up in the mountains. And like I said, if it looks like there's a few clouds, that's fine, but I don't care if it's, I'm not going to worry that much about clouds or anything. Not today. Okay, let's get the big brush. Let's blend that and see if we like it. Yeah, it does look like there might be a few clouds. Okay, we'll live with that. All right, now I want let's see, I want one mountain over here. Maybe about right there. It kind of goes off that way and down there. And then I want a taller mountain with some kind of sharp peaks behind it. Maybe kind of like that. And I want all of this going down to maybe a valley down in here. And I'm going to want something for us to stand on so that we can take in the scene. Maybe have some aspen trees over here close to. All right, so let's get a brush and let's see what this looks like. Let's do this man back here first, I guess. And I want most of this mountain to kind of go off toward this side. And this one I want this to come in front of it. And I think I want this one to kind of have a ridge on top. And I'm probably going to have a ridge here. And like I said, something for us to stand on over here on this side. Okay, let's get these mountains to looking right. Put a little gray. I'm going to have snow on. I'm going to put a little gray in first. Let that kind of break up, look like there's rocks and stuff. Boop. Okay. Want that gray to break up down in there below where the snow is going to be. Kind of like that. And maybe have a little bit on this one too. Just so it looks right. Okay. Let's get some snow on these peaks. Put some shadow color on them first. Let's see. On the back side of here. Not going to have too much shadow going off to the left, but well, that one's going to have quite a bit. And maybe like that. I think those are going to be mostly white. And then I want a little bit of shadow on this mountain here. I'm not going to have quite as much snow on that mountain because it's a little lower. So, all right, let's put our bright white snow on here. And like this. And like that. Excuse me for sniffing. Kind of had a bit of a cold or something this week. Okay. I know some people, when they sniff or something, they know how to remove that out of the video, but we're friends. You'll let it go. I know. And I'll try not to do it too much. Okay. Okay, now I want that peak has got to be bright white because it's sticking way up there. There we go. And maybe like this. Maybe there's quite a bit of snow right down here. Okay. And let's break that up with a little shadow color. Okay. All right, I like that. Oh, I've got to put snow on this one, don't I? Okay. Put some snow here. Like I said, I don't want a whole lot on this mountain over here. Just looks like it's got a little. There we go. That'll work. All right. Let's put some trees climbing up those slopes. Let's have trees climbing up these slopes back here. Now, I don't want to get too close. Like I said, I'm going to have some poplars over here, so I don't want to get a whole bunch of paint on this side. Yeah, those trees go there. And these trees climb. Well, let me see. I don't want that to have a lot of. I don't want to have a big bump in that, so I need to be careful. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now before we put the trees in over here, let's put some aspens in. Let's put some nice groves of aspens. In fact, we could have a few back there, couldn't we? Yeah. We could even have a few back there. Kind of shining a little bit. But let's have some really pretty good groves of aspens on this side. And aspens basically are three different colors. They're a deep orange, dark orange, or a slightly lighter orange, and yellow. And we want to have all of them. I want to kind of break them up. I don't want them all to be. I don't want them all to be in one place. Yeah. I want to have a couple of these groves be pretty big, but need to be some other little bits around. Now let's put some bright yellow over there too. Not just have the dark orange. Kind of highlight these a bit in spots. Hope I'm not getting in your way here. Now I don't want that to be too globby there. Let's see, let's have a few right down here too. The yellow. All right, now let's put some green trees around them. Let's use this brush. Let's put some green trees around them. And this ridge, oh, you know what? This has got to be a little bit darker, this ridge, because I want I want it to be separate from that mountain back there. So let me kind of darken that up a little bit, like that. Yeah, and then we'll put these trees. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that'll work. Put these trees all the way around here. Get rid of some of that dark color now. These trees to kind of separate these. You know what? I'm going to go back to the big brush. I think I like that better. Yeah, that works faster. And I'm going to have this ridge fall over like that. And like I said, this is going to come down to a valley down here. Kind of separate those aspens out a little bit. Okay. And maybe get a little dark color in here once in a while just to add some variegation. Now, like I said, I want to come down to a valley floor down here. And you know what? I'm going to want a lake down there. Here, let me put a lake in here. I don't know how big. Maybe pretty good size. Yeah, maybe pretty good size. I want a lake in here. And kind of go across like that. Kind of have a little bit of bright color in it so it looks like it's water, okay? And then let's use a smaller brush and get some plant green in here. And let's see, yeah, this green right here is what I want. And make it look like there's a... Sorry if I'm getting in your way here. Kind of make it look like there's a valley down there. Okay. Okay, now let's add a little more color up in there, I think. Yeah, I think there needs to be darker in spots. I just do. You know, this painting reminds me, Colorado. When I was young, I worked for a company that built power line, and one of our jobs, we were building power line into Aspen, Colorado. They were expanding the ski resorts, and they wanted their power, but they didn't want to see it coming. They didn't want to see they wanted the power line to bring the power, but they didn't want to see the power line coming. So we had to do everything by helicopter, which meant that we had to I'm gonna dull that just a tad real quick. So we had to do everything by helicopter sets, which meant that we had to drop them in by helicopter by helicopter to dig the holes. And a lot of times that meant blasting them out of rock. And then when we had to bring the poles in, we had to use a big helicopter sky crane to bring the poles over and to drop them down, which meant there had to be a crew in there with cant hooks, and there were ropes hanging from the huge poles. We used these huge green poles. There had to be a crew in there with cant hooks and plumb ropes hanging from that so they could get a good grip on it when the helicopter set it down the pole. They could stabilize it before the helicopter let it loose. And now I'm going to have some trees right here that are close, I think. So anyway, we well, now here's the other thing. The poles had to be the poles had to be green. These great big poles. It was a 230 kV EHV line, which means extra high voltage. These big power lines you see. And the wooden poles that we brought in all had to be green, so that supposedly you couldn't tell them from the trees. And the wire, the conductor cable, had to be non-spectral, so that it wouldn't catch, reflect in the sun or have the sun glint off of it, so they couldn't see that either. And the worst of it, like I said, was there were 5 sets across Basalt Mountain. Basalt Mountain was in line of sight from Aspens, so they did not want to see an access road being cut across that mountain. So, like I said, we had to do everything by helicopter. Set them in and dig the holes. Had the helicopter drop the poles in. When we pulled the wire through them, we had to have men to connect and disconnect the puller cable. And then when the wire was pulled in, we have to drop men in with helicopters to clip the conductor into the structures. Oh, it was a pretty difficult proposition, I want to tell you. Anyway, while we were doing all this, one day, like I said, I was project engineer, so I was in charge of all the logistics. Well, one day while we were doing all this, now I'm going to have some aspens over here. Let's see. I'm going to have a backdrop of aspen trees in here going down this slope. Set behind my big aspen trees. Let me get rid of that bristle. Okay, so anyway, we one day a couple of bigwigs showed up from the headquarters down in Georgia and had their wives with them. And they told me that they wanted to go out and look at those helicopter sets to see what we were doing. I'm going to have a couple of big poles here. Let's see. Let's get this one right here. I'm going to have a couple of big, I said poles, trees, thinking about the power line. So anyway, let's see. I'm going to have one pretty good sized tree. You know what? I'm going to get rid of that paint so I can make it white. There we go. And I'm going to have another one. Let's see. Maybe two more back there. Okay. So anyway, these bigwigs came up from Georgia and said they wanted to take a look at these helicopter sets. Like I said, there are 5 of them. So I called in the helicopter, and while we're standing there waiting for the helicopter to come by, we had a mechanic named Jack. I'm going to set this in quite a ways in front. Old guy, very jovial man, very clever old man. I mean, he was a great mechanic. He was probably the least dispensable man on that job because he kept everything running. Now, you know how these always have those black little eyelets and whatever in them, so we're going to put those in. Anyway, while I was standing there with these people from Georgia, the regional manager and one of the executive vice presidents, Jack came walking by. He was an older guy, gray-haired, been building power line for, I don't know, 100 years. And he came walking by and he looked over at us and he just said, "Blessed are they who run in circles, for they shall be called wheels." And the 2 bigwigs looked at me with a frown. Like I just grinned and shrugged. Jack told me one time, he said, "You're awful young to be so important." And I said, "Jack, I'm going to have to put some dark behind that. Let's see, with this brush, I think. I'm going to have to put some dark. Is that the right brush? Or did I get the wrong brush? No, that'll work. Put some dark behind these trees so that they'll make the white show up." He told me one time, he said, "You're awful young to be so important." And I said, "Jack, I don't feel young and I'm not all that important." Anyway, he yeah, blessed are they that run in circles, for they should be called wheels, he said. And like I said, I just grinned and shrugged. I don't think they liked it all that much, but oh well. Okay, now, even though the bark's white, these limbs are almost always dark colored, black colored. And especially the dead ones, and they usually have a lot of dead ones on them. And they have a lot of live limbs too, and they're black as well. So I'm going to get these in here and make them look like trees, hopefully. Well, I took those guys out. These bigwigs and their wives called in the 6-passenger helicopter. And the pilot of the helicopter had flown Hueys in Vietnam. Very good pilot. But he knew how to fly an aircraft. And I told him, I said, these guys, and they want to look at the structures we set in. So I said, when you get out there, I said, I want you to fly over each one of those 5 sets and put the nose down in the helicopter and turn that ship around so that they can see what's going on and how he did it. So he did. He got out there, and when we got to those structures, I'm going to use this one, has a little bit of white in it, so I want this yellow to stay really bright. We got out there over the structures. He pointed that helicopter down and washed it side to side as he turned in a big circle so they could see it, both sides. They were sitting in the back, husband and wife one side, husband and wife the other, 6-passenger helicopter, so they could see it as it go. After we got to about the 2nd or 3rd structure, all I heard back there was erp, 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 and the smell of them filling up the air sickness bags. But they said they wanted to see them, and I showed them all of them. let's see, I'm gonna get some brighter, some whiter yellow. I'm gonna get, yeah, let's do that. Because I want these to be really, really yellow, really bright. Okay, now I need a little more brightness right in here, I think. There we go. And maybe up the top there too. Maybe a little more brightness up here. And right in there. And let's highlight those maybe here and there and have some trunks going up over there. We need some trunks going up over there. We got 4 minutes, so we better hurry. Actually, only about 3.5, so we better hurry. Let me get some white here and just put some trunks back in over here. A bunch of them. Yeah, I have a whole grove of. All right, now we need something in the front here. Let's have, let's see. Well, let's have a little bit of green grass, I suppose. I want to go off down the hill here. And let's have I'll tell you what, let's have some autumn looking brush in here. Yeah, let's have some brush that looks like autumn. Yeah, that'll work. Kind of growing up and around these trees. You know what? Got 2.5 minutes. We could have a big rock in there too, couldn't we? We could have a big rock in there. We could have a rock right here. Get some black around the base of it. And put a little white on it. Just kind of variegate it down a little bit. Kind of hard to work with my knife there. Okay, put a little white on top of it. A little more white on top of it. So that kind of looks like a big old stone a little bit. And I don't know, we could have some, we'd have some green around here in plot spots too, couldn't we? Yeah, maybe up next to the rock here. There's just some brush or something. And I'm going to put some more of that. Let's see, I'm going to put some more of that brown stuff in there. And actually, I'm going to have some brown and kind of separate that way off down there. Oh, you know what we could do? In the 30 seconds we got left, we could have a little, we could have a little pine tree right here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's have a little old fir tree, pine tree, whatever. Little guy right here growing up the other side of this rock. Oh, maybe he's got a buddy. Okay, that's it. We're out of time. That's 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to sign this then, and we'll call it good. Yeah, have that a little bit where it rolls over. Yeah, just to variegate a little. Okay, let me sign this, and it'll be good. Let's see, what am I going to sign it in? I guess on the rock, huh? Okay, well, I'll sign it on the rock. And this is number 6, so we'll have a little 6 right there. All right. Now, give me glasses. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. It'll really help me grow my channel. And talk to me in the comments. If you got something to say about this painting or what we're doing in general, talk to me in the comments and I'll answer you back. And if you don't mind, share it with somebody. Tell somebody about it. It'd really help me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. And until next time, God bless and take care.